World War I, often called the Great War, wasn't just another chapter in the history books. It was a monumental event that upended the world as people knew it. It redrew borders, dismantled empires, and forever changed the course of politics, society, and technology. Its ripple effects are still felt to this day, from the modern nations it created to the lessons it left behind. Stick with us as we delve into 10 mind-blowing facts about this war that truly redefined history. World War I wasn't just a war. It marked the end of an era and the start of something entirely new. Picture this. Before 1914, monarchies and empires dominated much of the world. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and Tsarist Russia all held vast territories. But by 1918, the war had shattered these powers. Entire empires crumbled, and with them came a massive shift in global dynamics. The ripple effects weren't just political. They shaped the social and economic fabric of the 20th century. Revolutions erupted, nationalism surged, and the idea of democracy gained momentum in ways never seen before. This wasn't just another war. It was a turning point that left the world permanently transformed. How does a global conflict start? In this case, it all boiled down to a single assassination. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated in Sarajevo by a Serbian nationalist. What seemed like a regional crisis quickly spiraled out of control. Thanks to a tangled web of alliances, treaties, and rivalries, what began as a dispute between Austria-Hungary and Serbia drew in the world's major powers. Germany, Russia, Britain, France, and later the United States were all pulled into the conflict. By the war's end, over 30 nations spanning 5 continents had been involved. From the trenches of Europe to the African deserts and the Pacific Islands, this war touched almost every corner of the globe. Close your eyes and imagine this: endless lines of trenches stretching for hundreds of miles, with soldiers knee-deep in mud and constantly under threat from enemy fire. Trench warfare became the grim symbol of World War I. These trenches weren't just battlefields, they were homes, hospitals, and often graves. Overcrowded and unsanitary, they were breeding grounds for diseases like trench foot and typhus. Yet, despite their horrors, they were central to the war's brutal stalemates, especially on the Western Front. For years, the fighting rarely moved more than a few miles in either direction, costing millions of lives for little territorial gain. Over 16 million lives lost, each one representing a family shattered, a future erased. World War I wasn't just a military conflict, it was a human tragedy on a scale the world had never seen before. Beyond the battlefield deaths, millions of civilians were caught in the crossfire, enduring starvation, disease, and the destruction of their homes. Entire towns were reduced to rubble, and many communities were left to pick up the pieces long after the fighting stopped. The war's legacy can still be seen today in the memorials and cemeteries scattered across Europe and beyond, silent reminders of the immense human cost. War is often a catalyst for innovation, and World War I was no exception. This was the era when tanks rolled onto battlefields for the first time, machine guns became more efficient and deadlier, and chemical warfare introduced terrifying new weapons like mustard gas. But it wasn't just on the ground that warfare evolved. For the first time, the skies became a battlefield. Fighter planes and bombers were used to attack enemy positions and gather intelligence, marking the dawn of modern aerial combat. World War I wasn't just a war of destruction, it was also a war of invention, laying the groundwork for technology still in use today. After 4 years of bloodshed, the war ended on November 11, 1918, but the peace that followed was anything but simple. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles officially ended the conflict, imposing harsh penalties on Germany, including massive reparations and territorial losses. While the treaty was meant to ensure peace, it sowed the seeds for future conflict. The economic hardships and resentment it created in Germany helped fuel the rise of Adolf Hitler, leading to World War II just 2 decades later. With men fighting on the front lines, women stepped into roles they'd never held before. They worked in factories, drove ambulances, and served as nurses on the battlefield. These contributions weren't just vital to the war effort, they forever changed perceptions of women's capabilities. The war became a catalyst for the women's suffrage movement, leading to greater gender equality in many countries. It was a turning point that helped redefine the role of women in society. The war didn't just destroy lives, it toppled some of history's most powerful empires. The Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires all fell, leaving a vacuum that led to the creation of new nations. Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and others emerged, while colonial territories were divided and reassigned under new powers. After the devastation of World War I, world leaders were determined to create a system that would prevent such a catastrophic conflict from ever happening again. As a result, the League of Nations was established in 1920, aiming to foster international cooperation, maintain peace, and resolve conflicts through diplomacy rather than war. Although the League struggled with enforcement and failed to prevent World War II, its formation was a critical step forward in shaping global diplomacy. In the aftermath of World War II, the League's shortcomings served as a blueprint for the creation of the United Nations in 1945, an organization that continues to play a crucial role in global peacekeeping efforts, humanitarian aid, and international cooperation to this day. During the war, animals played essential roles both on the battlefield and at home. Nearly 1 million horses were used, with soldiers riding them as cavalry, while others pulled guns, ambulances, and supply wagons. Remarkably, gas from horse droppings was even used to power lamps. Dogs were also recruited, carrying messages in special tubes on their collars. They were fast, hard to hit, and helped control rats. Pigeons played a crucial role in delivering messages over long distances, often from the front line to Britain, though the Germans trained hawks to target them. Goldfish were used to check if gas masks were safe. If the fish died in the rinse water, it meant the mask was still contaminated with poison. So there you have it, 10 incredible facts about World War I that showed just how deeply it impacted the world. Which facts surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more 10 facts. Until next time, stay curious.